Rachel Zegler's Hollywood journey was supposed to be a modern fairy tale, but according to viral reports, it's taken a sudden, dramatic turn into a potential nightmare. Once seen as Disney's next big star, unconfirmed accounts sweeping the internet now paint a picture of financial crisis and legal jeopardy. Whispers claim the actress supposedly suffered a stunning courtroom meltdown after allegedly being ordered to pay a staggering $120 million in damages. The cause? The spectacular failure of Disney's live-action Snow White remake, a film that crashed and burned at the box office. While these reports remain fiercely unverified, they've ignited a firestorm of debate online. Was Rachel Zegler truly the reason the movie flopped? Did her outspoken interviews alienate audiences beyond repair? And could a studio actually hold an actor financially liable for a film's poor performance? This is the explosive drama captivating Hollywood watchers right now, and we're breaking down the alleged events and the real fallout. When Rachel Zegler was first announced as the new Snow White, it felt like Disney had found its fresh face, perfectly aligning with a push for modern, diverse casting. Fresh off her acclaimed role in West Side Story, her casting initially appeared to be a promising, even bold move. This wasn't just casting, it was a statement, signaling a new direction for classic Disney tales. But as promotional interviews began circulating online, the narrative quickly shifted. Rachel's comments started drawing intense, unforeseen criticism. She described the original Snow White's prince as a stalker and casually dismissed the traditional romance as outdated. She was blunt, stating this wouldn't be the 1937 version. Her Snow White wouldn't be saved by a prince. Instead, she'd be dreaming of becoming a leader, empowered and independent. This approach was intended to modernize the character, but it struck a jarring, dissonant chord with legions of longtime fans who cherished the innocence and charm of the original animated film. What should have been a celebratory launch quickly devolved into a PR disaster of epic proportions. Social media erupted in outrage. Fans accused Zegler of disrespecting Disney's cherished legacy. Hashtags like #NotMySnowWhite and #boycott. Snow White began trending nationally. The internet meme machine went into overdrive, repurposing Zegler's interview clips, mocking her statements, and sharing them widely with sarcastic commentary, highlighting what many perceived as an out-of-touch attitude. The backlash wasn't just mild disapproval, it felt deeply personal to countless fans who grew up with Disney princesses. It wasn't just about a character. It touched on tradition, respect, and the feeling that a treasured piece of childhood had been carelessly dismissed. While a minority defended her modern take as necessary updates, the overwhelming sentiment was clear. Disney had fundamentally misjudged its audience, and Rachel Zegler had become the controversial face of that massive miscalculation. Then came the undeniable proof of the film's struggle: the box office numbers. When Snow White finally premiered, it opened domestically to a dismal roughly $40 million. For a movie with production and marketing costs reportedly soaring past $250 million, it was an absolute catastrophe. The international performance was equally disappointing. Despite immense brand recognition, Disney's global marketing power, and one of the most iconic titles in film history, Snow White quickly became one of the worst performing live-action remakes the studio had ever produced. Industry analysts didn't mince words, labeling it a commercial failure of shocking scale. Critics didn't help, often citing a lack of the original's magic and a tone that felt preachy rather than enchanting. While many factors undoubtedly contributed, including creative direction, visual choices, and screenplay issues, a potent narrative solidified. Rachel Zegler and her controversial public statements were widely seen as the prime culprit, driving the final nail, perhaps several nails, into the film's financial coffin. This is where the story takes a truly wild and important, to stress, highly speculative turn. Recent weeks have seen dramatic rumors explode across entertainment blogs and social media platforms, painting a stunning picture of Rachel Zegler potentially facing a direct confrontation with the very studio that hired her. These reports, which remain completely unverified and lack concrete evidence, describe a purported courtroom battle. The most sensational claims suggest she was ordered to pay a staggering $120 million in damages related to the film's losses and allegedly suffered a dramatic meltdown in court. It's crucial to understand these are reports swirling in the online echo chamber, not confirmed facts from official sources. Yet, the mere existence of such claims highlights how quickly fortunes can shift in Hollywood and how, from a strict legal standpoint, the idea of a studio suing an actor because a movie flops is almost unheard of. Films underperform constantly, and studios rarely pursue legal action against their stars unless there are clear contractual breaches or demonstrably harmful conduct outside the scope of promoting the film. However, what gives these rampant rumors even a sliver of theoretical ground is the concept of morality clauses. These standard provisions in entertainment contracts can allow studios to penalize talent if their public behavior causes significant harm to the brand's image. If, and this is a big if, Disney believed Rachel's controversial public statements and social media activity caused quantifiable damage to the Snow White brand, they could theoretically attempt to recoup costs, perhaps by canceling bonuses or back-end deals. But again, let's be crystal clear. There is currently no concrete evidence circulating in reputable news outlets that any such lawsuit or payment order has actually occurred. The theory simply feeds the online narrative because it raises a provocative question. Should stars be financially accountable if their public actions are perceived to tank a project? Regardless of whether Disney is pursuing legal action, Rachel Zegler is undeniably navigating a full-blown reputation crisis. In the entertainment industry, public perception is currency, and it can inflict damage just as severe as any lawsuit. If casting Rachel Zegler is now viewed as a liability by other studios, if audiences react negatively to her involvement in future projects, the consequences are very real. Fewer job offers, more restrictive contract terms, and significantly diminished creative control. Many observers now see Rachel as having transformed from a bright, promising young talent into a controversial figurehead. Her perceived crime might simply be speaking her mind too candidly in an era where celebrities representing massive brands are expected to be carefully curated. But in today's Hollywood, where flawless public relations feel like everything, such frankness can dramatically alter a career trajectory. Industry insiders are reportedly watching this situation closely. Some sources suggest Disney is already rethinking its entire live-action strategy following the Snow White debacle. Whispers claim internal teams are being reorganized, future remakes scaled back, and new, tighter PR guidelines being drafted to prevent similar disasters. Rachel's situation could, in theory, be setting a precedent. Other actors might soon face much stricter contractual clauses, more intensive media training, and significantly less freedom to express personal opinions when they become the face of multi-billion-dollar franchises. This development serves as a stark reminder of the immense power major studios still hold, and how quickly that power dynamic can shift based on intense public reaction. The Rachel Zegler Snow White saga represents more than just one actress or one failed film. It appears to signal a larger, sometimes brutal, transformation happening across Hollywood. Traditional rules governing branding, audience loyalty, and how to update classic stories are being rewritten, often in real time and frequently with harsh consequences for those caught in the storm. Studios are learning, perhaps the hard way, that legacy intellectual properties come loaded with deeply entrenched audience expectations. When you attempt to reimagine a story like Snow White, which carries nearly 90 years of nostalgia and emotional weight for generations of fans, you aren't just making creative choices, you're making statements. And if those statements clash fundamentally with the core audience's feelings, the backlash can be immediate, widespread, and unforgiving. Actors fronting these massive reboots can no longer be seen merely as performers reciting lines. They've become de facto brand ambassadors, expected to uphold the image not just of their character, but of the studio and often the fan community itself. What they say in interviews, how they interact online, and the tone they project in public appearances now carry significant weight, impacting not just their own careers, but the multi-million-dollar enterprises behind them. Perhaps Rachel Zegler underestimated the gravity of this responsibility, or perhaps the system failed to adequately prepare a young star for the intense, microscopic scrutiny that comes with becoming the global face of an icon with nearly a century of history. Either way, the Snow White production has become a mirror, reflecting not just a movie's commercial failure, but exposing the fragile, complex balance between progressive storytelling, traditional audience expectations, and the critical element of audience trust. Hollywood executives are certainly watching. Other actors are undoubtedly paying attention. Studios are likely taking meticulous notes. Because if there's one thing the industry fears more,